Before the story begins, you need to know one thing. Kale is dead. In a world where love turns into betrayal, where loyalty is punished, one man was sacrificed. My only hope that kept me going in this wretched world. The girl murmured softly. Kale is... She shook her head. No, the girl said. Kale was killed. They killed him. The girl thinks, if God really exists, if Kale had to have such a tragic end, if there's a reason why I came to this world, I'll gladly give up my life, so bring my favorite character back. Hestia. That was the name of the character I possessed. After falling asleep while binge reading my favorite novel, I woke up as an extra that didn't even have a single line in the novel. Hestia said, so pretty. But who is she? Perhaps it was because she held no importance to the plot. Hestia, a commoner with no family, was extremely rich for no apparent reason. Hestia said, Holy, what is this? Hestia thinks, usually, when someone goes into a novel, aren't they there to save or kill someone or twist the original plot? But I'm just an extra that's not mentioned at all in the novel. So what can I do? Just think, what could I possibly do as a wealthy extra? Hestia said, fangirl over my favorite character, of course. Being rich and unemployed is the best. Hestia said, hey, I don't care if it's a fallen noble family. I want to buy a title. I need to go to the banquet. The banquet, the boy replied. What are you talking about? Are you out of? Hestia said, thank you so much. I'm a noble now, the boy muttered. I'm rich. With my new title as a noble, I attended countless aristocratic banquets. Only then could I get a glimpse of them. Lovely long locks, shining in pearlescent pink, bright eyes, ocean blue and green. The female lead, Diana. Hestia thinks, no wonder she's the female lead. It's as if the air around her is glowing, the perfect black hair and golden eyes.
Physique.
Intelligence. He has it all. The male lead, Helios. The crown prince. And finally, a cold, calculating man, capable of cruel decisions, yet turns sweet in front of the woman he loves. The second male lead, Salus. Hestia said, yes, that's right. He's my favorite. My baby. Hestia thinks, they're the reason why I spend so much money attending these banquets. Who needs a museum when you can admire such beauty? Those three look perfect just by standing together. You're absolutely right. But Kale is the cutest, right? Ho, so we all feel the same way. I knew it, but I'm too nervous to go and greet them. They do have an unapproachable air around them. Although I can't even greet them since I'm just an extra, I'm happy just to be able to see my favorite characters like this. Even the wind is blowing towards them. Besides, this world seems to be following the original plot just fine, regardless of my presence here. I'm just one super lucky fan, I guess. The saint is blessed with the power of healing, Diana. The disciple of God who is filled with love and kindness, always on the side of those who are weak. She's said to be the only hope for this corrupt empire of greed and deception. Helios, the crown prince, and his best friend, Marquis Salus, fell in love with her. Helios said, you are always right. I'll join you in all your steps, Salus said. I will always be here for you, Diana. But there was a villain, Duke Orcus, and his daughter, Lady Latona. Lady Latona said, a lowly wretch like you, alongside the prince? How dare you? Helios said, what is the meaning of this? Salus said, Diana, are you all right? Lady Latona said, Your Highness, unless you accept my marriage proposal, the Orcus family will form its own dukedom. The royal authority was threatened. The crown prince was forced into marriage. So Salus stepped forward. Using their crimes, he induced them to drink poison tea. Diana said, Salus, how could you do something so inhumane? Salus said, Diana replied, I don't want to hear your excuses. You had no right. I trusted you. I don't ever want to see your face again. Following the original plot, Helios and Diana got married. Hestia said, it's been a year since I came here. I didn't change anything. I guess this is the end. Hestia thinks, can I go back to the real world? They look happy. But I hoped Kale would find happiness too. Hestia said softly, you're smart. so don't dwell on a passing love. I hope you find your own happiness. A year later, when I met my beloved again, he was at the brink of death. Hestia thinks after watching the novel and, finally, my last day in this world. When I get back, there'll be no more of this lavish life, but now I'll get to see my friends and family. Will anyone even believe me? I can't wait to see them going straight to the point I didn't return to the real world. Why? It's only been a day. I'm sure I'll be back when I wake up this time. Please, 1, 2, 5 days passed. A week, 8 days, a month. I have been trapped in the novel for a whole year now. I'm still here. Why? The novel has already ended. So why? I had already spent Hestia's abundant wealth, so I had no other choice but to live in a small cabin in the mountains. No, can I even call this living? In a world with no family, friends, or anyone I know, I was haunted by the fear of having to live alone forever as an outsider. Facing my hopeless, dreary future, I was overwhelmed with dread. However, the one thing that pained me the most was Salus. After being abandoned by his best friend and the woman he loved, he has lost his will to live, and for the past year, since the novel's ending, he's been trying to kill himself. His servants have been doing their best to prevent it, but still, I really wanted him to be happy. If I saw you living happily at least, I prayed every night that I would see the familiar ceiling when I opened my eyes, that I would be holding a novel with a happy ending for Kale when I opened my eyes, but the cold reality only sneered at my wishes. Why are you doing this to me if I can't go back? At least let me see him living happily. Just why? Why am I in this world? Why do I have to go through this? If it has to be this way, I want to disappear from this world. Is this a dream? Wait. Please, Salus replied. What? Hestia said. It really is Kale. Hestia thinks it's not a dream. Is he there? Wait, where is he, Kale? People shouted. Hurry, go that way. We need to find him quickly. Otherwise, the boys said, where on earth did he go? Hestia thinks, what's happening? My favorite character. He's holding me. Really? Is he really? Oh my God. I can't believe this. Salus said, they're gone. Hestia said, excuse me. Salus said, I'm sorry. I was in a rush. Hestia replied, and no, it's okay. If I could, I'd stay in your arms all day long. Wah. Who's chasing you? Is there anything I can do to help? I want to help and be with him a little longer. Then I live alone, so it's quite shabby, but the way here is difficult, so I'm sure they won't find you. Salus said, I'm sorry for getting you involved. Hestia said, don't worry. Please make yourself at home. Hestia thinks, if I'd known, I would have cleaned up. Is this seriously not a dream? Even when I was super rich, I could only watch from a distance, but now he's sitting right in front of me, in my house. This is way beyond the level of being a super lucky fan. Hestia said, so, what brings you to the forest? You don't have to tell me if it's too difficult to say. Salus said, you said you wanted to disappear from this world. You're living here alone in the middle of the forest. It seems you have quite the difficult story as well. Hestia said, Kale's words tugged at something I've been suppressing all this time. Hestia said, because of some strange reason, I can't go back to my family, my friends, or even the real me. Salus replied, I always thought I'd be able to go back, but even that hope is fading away, so. Hestia said, that sounds familiar. No, it can't be. Salus said, my friend, my love, they've all turned their backs on me. I can't go back. I have no place there. Death would be better than this, yet I can't choose to have my own death. Hestia said, death would be better than this, yet I can't choose to have my own death. Salus said, then you must be stronger than I am. Hestia said, Kale, my beloved character, he was cold, yet kind, strong, but gentle. That's why I always felt so bad for him. Hestia thinks he doesn't look well. He seems thinner, too. Has he been eating properly? He was only the second male lead, but he shone brighter than anyone else. I want to see him again. Hestia said, wait here for a moment. I'll be back soon. If, by any chance, if this is the reason why I've been stuck here all this time, if it was for this moment, if it was all for Kale, if it was to give him the will to live again, first, I'll feed him lots of warm and delicious food. Then I'll wrap him in warm blankets so he gets a good night's sleep. Afterwards, we'll go on a walk somewhere nice, and then I'll tell him that there's someone who treasures him, even if the other characters don't. Then I'll say, Kale, let's live on together. Hestia calls, see Kale? And no way. What is Kale? How? Hestia thinks I thought I finally understood why I came to this world. This can't be. Why is this happening to me? On the table, there was a short letter with Kale's signature. In it, he apologized for leaving such a mess and promised a compensation from the Marquise. The next day, Kale's death was on the front page of every newspaper, but only for a short while. Even his death was quickly forgotten over the scandal between Diana and Helios. People whispered, discord between the crown prince and the crown princess? What will become of this empire? Hestia thinks I can't believe this. It was a love that dissipated so quickly, barely lasting 2 years. Then what was his sacrifice for? After Kale's death, I only felt rage and emptiness. It was a life without any hope. I didn't even have the strength to take care of my body or my mind. Helios grabbed her hand. He looked confused. Helios replied, you there? Aren't you going to apologize? Diana said, stop. Hestia thinks she's been coming to the temple every day, just mindlessly roaming around. If only the Saintess was here. She's never even visited the temple since she became the crown princess. Does she no longer wish to meet commoners like us now that she's royalty? People whispered, you didn't hear the rumors? Lately, her divine power has Saintess, Diana, Helios, and my beloved, the only hope of my life, Salus. Salus is dead. He's no longer in this world. No. He took his life with his own hands alone. Kale was killed. Yes, Kale was driven to his death from all the pain. They made him suffer. They killed him. Ugh, if God really exists, if Kale had to have such a tragic end, if there's a reason why I came to this world, I'll gladly give up my life, so bring my favorite character back. Hestia thinks the bed is soft and the ceiling looks familiar. Wait, isn't this my room before I lived in the cabin? But I passed out at the temple. Did one of the priests bring me here? No. They don't even know who I am. And I'd be in the cabin if they did. Somehow, I feel just fine. In fact, I'm feeling quite energetic and my headache is gone. It's as if I'm back to when Hestia was still in good shape. No way. No way. I've seen this before. After the wedding parade, the village held a festival that lasted all night. Today is the wedding day of Diana and Helios. Hestia thinks so. I've gone back in time, back to the ending of the novel. But why today of all days? No, I have no time to waste on such thoughts. It's the day of the wedding, which means, you there. Take me to the estate of Marquis Salus. Helios said, what are you saying, Oliva? I'll get you there at once. Hestia thinks if this is really happening, if I'm really being given a second chance. Helios courted Diana with a fiery passion, but Salus gave Diana his everything, always standing by her side like a gentle breeze. And because of that, Diana never once thanked Kale, even till the very end. Security guards shouted, who's there? I don't want to let his genuine love go to waste. I have something important to tell the Marquis. Guard shouted, this isn't a place where people can come and go freely. Go away at once. Saintess Diana. Guard said, what? Where? So sorry. But this is an emergency. Hestia thinks no one can stop a dedicated fangirl from helping her favorite character. Maids whispered, Diana received so much from Salus. Girls whispered, who's that? Another girl screamed, Kale's room is on the 2nd floor. I'll make sure that you realize just how much Kale has provided for you in your life and how cruel your accusation against him was. My lord. Kale said, who are you? Hestia thinks I knew it. He tried to do it. I have to do something about that first. Yes. The one thing that I want is for Diana to regret everything she's ever done to Salus. Kale said, my name is Hestia. So for the sake of my favorite character, I've come here to become your wife. I will do anything. Rose. The The butler, who has been serving the prestigious Marquis family since the time of the former Marquis, was like a parent to Salus when he was younger and has been serving him as his loyal subordinate ever since. Although, after being shunned by those he trusted, his master hasn't really been fulfilling his duties as the Marquis. Lord Salus. Uros thought my master will quickly recover and return to his former self. And yet the room that screams chaos. My master's suicide attempt. An attack by an unknown woman. And now, a sudden marriage proposal? Hestia said, "Will you marry me?" Kale replied, "Oh my," his head was spinning at full speed to keep up with the current situation. What's going on? Hestia thinks, and that, I can't believe I just did that. That was how Hestia was feeling as well. Hestia thinks I have to make sure he doesn't die this time. Pop. Hestia thinks, yep, that's right. We've reached the ending of the novel anyway. Who cares if we mess around now? Hestia thinks that's right, that's right. This is for the sake of your beloved Salus. Let's do this. Yes, let's do this. Hestia thinks, hey. A cute speech bubble doesn't make it sound any better. Kale said, marriage? Hestia replied, and no, well, I mean, Goyle smiling maha. Hestia said, my lord. Kale said, to think that even the likes of you would think so lowly of me. Hestia said, and no. I just want to save you, do as you wish. So Kale said, you want to become a Marchioness? Then do as you wish. Wait, but you don't even know me. I mean, I am the one who asked for it. But still, I get that you're not in your right mind. But this is a grand matter. I'm proposing marriage. Hestia said, well, Kale said, discuss everything you need with my butler. What? But, my lord. You're both dismissed. I wish to rest. What on earth is going on? Can anyone there? Keep an eye on his lordship to make sure he rests properly. I'm Hestia, the daughter of Baron Elia. Who knew that the title I bought would come in handy like this? Uros said, I am Uros, the butler of this estate. Hestia thinks I know that too. Butler said, to be frank, I haven't fully comprehended this situation at the moment, so I ask for your understanding, as my questions may be rather rude. Hestia said, of course. The rudest person here. Butler says, first of all, Lady Hestia, you forced yourself into this house, pushing past all the servants, breaking into his lordship's room. Ugh, then you attacked him by practically leaping onto him. Consequently, his lordship fell. And then, I'd say this is more like him criticizing me, rather than asking rude questions. Butler said, however, Lady Hestia, if it wasn't for you, his lordship may not be with us now. I sincerely thank you for that. In the previous timeline where I didn't intervene, Kale never died in this manner. I'm certain you were the one who tried the hardest to prevent his death. Hestia thinks on the contrary, I would like to thank you. Butler said, however, I do still have a question. You came straight to the manor, claiming you had something to tell his lordship. It's as if you knew he was about to take his life. Hestia thinks that's because I didn't know. Oh no, here it comes. I could explain how I came to possess this body, and so on, but no one would take me seriously, right? How am I supposed to explain this? Why are you so worried? After all, this is a world inside a novel. Supernatural powers are normal in fantasy novels. You guys aren't helping at all, so go away. Besides, now that you're involved with Kale, you're no longer an extra. Yeah, that's right. Lady Hestia? Hestia thinks I have the ability to see the future. Alright, he's not buying it. In that case, Hestia said the pink diamond. Butler says, what? Hestia replied, the pink diamond. A while ago, his lordship ordered you to purchase it. It was meant to be a wedding gift for Saintess Diana. He couldn't give it to her in the end, so it was placed in the third drawer in his study. How did you? But the fact that I know something only the two of you know about should be enough proof of my ability, don't you think? Hestia thinks I've read this novel countless times. Don't you underestimate me. Though I'm sure this isn't enough to convince him entirely, Hestia said, his lordship will continue to make such drastic attempts. I want to use my ability to save him. I can see the future, which means I can prevent his reckless actions beforehand. But to prevent his death, I have to be near him. And I will need authority over many things. Hestia said, "This is the only reason why I want to become his wife. If necessary, I can write a written vow. I will not act as the lady of the house under any circumstances. I know it's absurd, but this is all I can say for now." Hestia said, "You can criticize me for taking advantage of the Marquis's current state. However, I will never do anything to harm him. All that remains now is he's not convinced, is he? I have nothing to say if he kicks me out." Butler said, "I don't think this is a matter for me to decide." Hestia said, "We can resume this discussion tomorrow, with his lordship." Butler said, "It's quite late, so please stay in this room for the night. I will see you tomorrow morning." Hestia said, "Thank you, I'm so tired, but I've managed to come this far. I'll give it my all. I'll make sure to save you this time." Kale said, "What am I supposed to do?" "Tell me, Diana, I can't believe you actually did that. Seriously, it's really reckless. Don't you think you're being way too impulsive?" He. "Why you guys were egging me on?" Hestia thinks, is this a dream? Is it really okay for Hestia to become Kale's wife? Marriage is a serious matter. What's done is done. You sound as if this is someone else's problem. It's just a novel anyway. Hestia said, "First off, I didn't plan on becoming his wife. I was going to start by becoming his assistant or his secretary. It didn't look like that was the case from your proposal." Be quiet. Hestia said, "The moment I saw his empty eyes, I realized that a mere assistant or a secretary won't be enough. So before I knew it, now I need to go on with this ridiculous profit act, but if I can save Kale, everything is worth it. Saving Salis is my one and only goal. If that's what you want, we'll follow your decision. Don't forget that we will always be here for you." "We? Who exactly?" Hestia thinks. Yawn. "I swear I had a weird dream." Butler said, "Was there anything that caused you discomfort last night?" Hestia thinks, "I slept so well to the point of having dreams." Hestia said, "No, thanks to you." Butler said, "As expected of a prophet, you seem very calm despite waiting for the Marquis' answer." Hestia said, "Is that so? By the way, how is the Marquis?" Butler said, "Fortunately, he seems to be much more stable today." "What a relief." Butler said, "Aren't you able to find that out using your foresight?" Hestia said, "I can only see major events. So, I don't know the minor details to many things, but my ability is real." Butler said, "It's just a joke. I apologize for startling you. Hestia thinks I'm going to pass out if he jokes around like this again. But it seems like he's let his guard down around me." Butler said, "To be honest, I'm still unsure whether this is the right choice. But it's undeniable that you have saved his lordship, Lady Hestia." Hestia said, "Sir." Butler said thus, "Due to that fact, at his lordship's command, I've prepared all the necessary documents overnight. He worked overtime because of me. I'm so sorry." A modern-day apology. Butler said, "You should read them through and discuss with his lordship. Although the Marquis has calmed down a lot, whether he'll have a proper conversation." Hestia said, "It'll be all right. Once we're done, I think he'll appreciate a nice fruit punch mixed with brandy." Butler said, "She even knows his favorite drink." Hestia thinks, "I know Kale's current state better than anyone else." Butler said, "My lord, Lady Hestia has arrived." Thinks, regardless of how much I prepare myself, when I see those eyes, I can't help but think of that time. I wouldn't have started this if I was going to back down so easily." Hestia said, "Good morning, Marquis Salis." Hestia thinks, why is he sighing at that? Butler said, Lady Hestia, this way. Just you wait. You'll thank me later. I've prepared 2 copies of the documents. Please take your time to read them. The documents stated my rights as the Marchioness. As long as it didn't harm the Marquis, I had the same level of authority as Salis. And there was a clause concerning our rights to the property of the Marquis family. Although this was rushed, it has everything that's needed. And the writing makes it easy to understand. I can see how Campanurose is, but Hestia said I have no need for any property of the Marquis family. I'm not here to chase after his wealth. Butler said, I understand. I'll remove those sections promptly. Butler said, and my lord, have you read this properly before signing? Hestia said he's right. And that contract isn't even revised yet. Kale said, I don't care about this. So stop being loud and get out. Hestia thinks it's those eyes again, my lord. You will never regret this decision. Kale said, get out. Hestia said, I'm sorry, Lady Hestia. I need to go to the temple. Pardon? Why the temple, all of a sudden? Hestia said, I'll take back what rightfully belongs to the Marquis. First, I'll start with you, Diana. Diana was a saintess with divine powers. However, due to her background as a commoner, she didn't have a proper foothold even within the temple. Thus, for her sake, Kale donated his best piece of land, Ilion, to the temple under Diana's name. Thanks to that, Diana gained a strong foothold in the temple, became the crown princess, and lived happily ever after. I won't let it end like that. Kale even gave her his land for no reason. Yet she dared to dump him so cruelly. Just you wait. I won't let you get away with this. Knock, knock. My lady, we've arrived at the temple. I'll return everything that Kale gave her back to where it belongs. She'll have to realize just how much Kale has done for her. Hold on. I heard that the Marquis carriage is here. Hestia thinks they must be worried about what Kale will do now, huh? Look how he rushed out like that. Servants said, where is the Marquis? Why did he come here, without prior notice? Hestia said it's not the Marquis who has business with the temple today. I'm Hestia, the wife of Marquis Kale. Hestia thinks what's up with his reaction. Servant said, listen, you're not fooling anyone with such a terrible lie. Everyone in the world knows that the Marquis can't get over Lady Diana. Crack. I don't know how you managed to ride the Marquis carriage, but hey you, where do you think you're going? I have nothing to discuss with an irrelevant priest like you. I need to meet the higher-ups. How dare you? I'd like to meet the high priest. A man said, I heard you wanted to see me. Hestia thinks he's not the high priest. Hestia said, I've stated that I want to meet the high priest. I see there was a miscommunication. The high priest isn't someone you can easily meet as you please. Please don't worry, I'm at a decently high position myself. But I heard you introduced yourself as the Marchioness to our priest, so he's questioning me from there. Yes, I understand why you'd be doubtful. We only got married today. If you're still in doubt, you can send someone to the Marquis Manor. The seal and the signature seem legitimate. Does that really mean? But just to be safe, give us a moment for verification. I don't trust her. Petty. Of course. He's not even trying to hide his doubts. Well, your ladyship, what brings you to the temple today? If it's about donations, I'm here. I'm here to withdraw Ilion, the land that was previously donated by the Marquis. That's ridiculous. How can you dare to take back your offering? You'll surely face the wrath of God. Lies. They're just too greedy to give it back. At the time, the Marquis donated the land for the Saintess, who's now the crown princess. It wasn't an offering to God. And now that the Saintess no longer dwells in the temple, its purpose has ceased to exist. You think that I don't know how the temple greedily devoured the land meant for Diana? Ever since then, they treated Diana kindly in fear of Kale's reaction. Don't underestimate someone who read this novel countless times. I believe this isn't a matter I can take care of. Please wait for a moment. He should have done that earlier. Seeing how distraught they are, I must have persuaded them after all. I was planning on threatening them with their reputation if they didn't cooperate. I'm glad things didn't get messy. But it's a pity I missed the chance to expose Diana's cruelty to the world. When is he coming? I must have kept you waiting. We've confirmed that the seal and signature of the Marquis are authentic. I hope my children didn't offend you. He's so different up close compared to when I saw him in the distance. He caught me off guard. So, you'd like to withdraw the donated land? Yes. The land of Ilion originally belonged to his lordship, so I'd like it back. He looks nice, ha. Your ladyship, forgive me for saying this, but we cannot return Ilion. High priest said, I'm sure his lordship was fully aware that the land wouldn't entirely belong to Lady Diana. Thus, it isn't unreasonable to say that the land belongs to the temple, Hestia thought. Don't get intimidated. They'll look down on me if I do. Hestia said, it's okay, I am the Marchioness now. That's truly unfortunate. High Priest said, "Thank you for understand." Hestia said, "The hidden cruelty of the beloved saintess. A wicked villainess who took advantage of the Marquis' sincere love, and the temple that exploited it for its own benefit." Isn't that such a marvelous headline for tomorrow's newspaper? What do you think, High Priest? Kale said, "Your ladyship, I'm afraid I don't understand what you mean. There's no way that our temple would do such a thing. The temple does not engage in any profitable activities." Hestia replied, "Oh my." Hestia thinks how ridiculous. He's managed to keep his smile, but even I can see that he's agitated. Hestia said, Seems like you don't like those headlines." Fine, if that's the case. Hestia thinks, "Final blow for the corrupt temple. I'll wipe away that smile of yours as well. I'll be the last one smiling." Hestia said then, "How about disclosure of the crown princess, a loyal dog of the temple? Her hidden nature that stole a plot land exploiting. How does that sound? Now that I think about it, few aristocrats are still unhappy about the crown princess background. There'll be quite a number of people who'll be entertained." Thinks she is right, although the people greatly support the saintess, she is yet to be recognized by the nobles. If the nobles are to find out about the alliance between the saintess and the temple, things won't end well. Said, "Your words truly lack the dignity of a prestigious aristocrat." Hestia thinks he must be taken back by my blunt threats right off the bat. But I'm not one of those prim nobles anyway, so I couldn't care less. Besides, Hestia said, "If you still refuse to return the land for the sake of my favorite character, I'm ready to stir up even more ruckus. I will file an appeal to the emperor right away and report that the temple has been siphoning the donations off for their own gain. How dare you blame us for such a thing with no evidence?" Hestia said, "Are you sure I don't have any evidence? Really? Please give us a moment." Hestia said, "Take your time. If I file an appeal to the emperor, the temple must go through an investigation. As a result, other corruptions will inevitably be exposed as well. On top of that, due to the evidence I have, they seem very agitated." Hestia thinks, "Right, evidence. As for the evidence, I have none. Since they did a lot behind the scenes, I knew they'd have some insecurities. Thank you for being baited. Based on their reactions, this was indeed the right choice. Now I'll finalize my stance." Hestia said, "It's unfortunate that you don't seem to recognize my considerations. I'm here to give you the chance to end things quietly. I'm sure the gracious High Priest understands." "Your ladyship, after discussing, we think," Butler calls Lady Hestia. "You returned much later than I expected. Did something happen in the temple?" Hestia said, "Uros, Butler said you really took the land back." Hestia said, "I told you I'll bring it back." Butler replied, "Oh Lady Hestia. No, my lady." You should have seen the look on High Priest's face. It was priceless. "Ha ha ha. You're truly amazing." Hestia said, "I thought I felt a gaze." Butler said, "Well, then, my lady, why don't you deliver this news to his lordship?" Hestia said, "Me?" Butler said, "Yes, since you're the one who brought it back." Hestia said, "If I'm being honest, I do want to see my favorite character's face again, even in sorrow, and no, it's okay. I'm still a stranger, so he'll find me uncomfortable. I'd like you to tell him, Uros." Butler said, "Lady Hestia, you're so considerate. Then you should get some rest now, my lady. I'll send a maid to your room for assistance." Nevertheless, I'm still astonished. Ho, I agree with that too. Hestia thinks today was such a long day. But considering my progress from day one, I'll get my revenge in no time. I just need to keep this going. I'll go and check out Ilion tomorrow. Kale should be the one looking after it, but I don't want to concern him with such thing right now. Besides, at that time, blinded by the joy of reclaiming the land, I was oblivious to other things. Helios said, "The Marchioness?" Biba. Kalius said, "Until I see it with my own eyes, I shall not believe any such thing. I didn't think about the potential consequences of my action." Kale said, "I see you've been having fun." Hestia said, "Forgive me for acting rashly." Kale said, "Why? Why am I in this situation? I had a good night's sleep and was about to visit Ilion when suddenly Hestia thinks Kale called me. He never talked to me, so why is he calling me now? Is he unhappy about how I took back the land he donated for Diana? Am I going to get kicked out now?" Kale said, "Hestia, Was it? Hestia thinks Kale is looking at me in the eyes.
Is it not?
And no, that's right. My name is Hestia. I'm Hestia, the adopted daughter of the Baron of Alia. Kale said, so you're not of noble birth. Well, not that I care. Hestia said, I bought this title to see you. Kale calls Hestia. Kale said, what's your true intention for marrying me? Hestia said, I hate the crown prince and princess. I know lying won't work. I'll be honest with you. I want them to apologize to your lordship. And I want to help my lord to stop having suicidal thoughts. Kale said, what did Diana and Helios do to you? Hestia said, it's not because they've wronged me. It's due to their wrongdoings against you. I want them to have at least an ounce of regret about their choices. That's all. Butler said she has the ability to see the future. Kale said, is it time for you to retire already? Butler replied, I didn't believe it at first either. However, Lady Hestia came to rescue your lordship as if she knew what would happen in advance. Additionally, she knew about the pink diamond. Just in case, I had included a clause about property transfer in the marriage contract, but she asked for such clause to be taken out. And this time, she brought back the land of Ilion from the temple. She seemed to be sincerely worried about you, my lord. Kale thinks she asked to be my wife, but she has no greed for wealth or power and returned the land of Ilion at her own volition. Did she really do all this for me? However, I believe we've never met before, so why? Hestia thinks Kale is right. Our encounter in the forest no longer exists in this timeline. It's hard to understand why anyone would do so much for a complete stranger. It's odd. Hestia said, is there a reason why you chose me? That's right. Are you unhappy about what I'm doing? If that's the case, I'll sign the divorce agreement and leave the manor right away. It's useless, no matter how much I try to explain. I'm just a third party after all. If Kale doesn't like this, I have no choice but to walk away. Kale said, Helios sent a letter. Hestia thinks already? You're the one who started this, so see it to the end with your own hands. I won't intervene. To be honest, I'm curious as to how this will end. Do as you wish. Does that mean he'll let me do anything? So it's true that love and hate are two sides of the same coin. Now I can do anything without worrying. Hestia said, then I'll pay a visit to the crown prince myself. But to prove that I am the Marchioness, I'll need your lordship's help. I'll write a reply by hand. That'll be enough for Helios. My favorite character's handwritten note. Hestia said, I won't need anything else. Thank you so much. Kale said, right, then you're dismissed. Butler calls Lady Hestia. Hestia said, Uros. Butler said, my lord is yet to fully recover. So please don't take things to heart. Hestia said, I didn't even say anything yet. Don't worry, nothing happened. Besides, I need your help to head out right now. Butler said, where are you headed this time? Hestia said, I need to meet the crown prince. Butler said, leave it to me. Maid said, everyone. Our Lady is going to meet the crown prince. Do your best to get her ready. Our Lady is meeting the crown prince. Hestia said, then you'll meet the crown princess as well, right? Maid said, leave it to us. Hestia said, wait. Take out all the dresses and accessories. Go, and buy some immediately if needed. Cosmetics. Perfumes. Bring the best ones. Maid said, we're done, my lady. Hestia thinks, wow, how I knew Hestia is pretty, but after the makeover, she's so beautiful. Shouldn't they be hostile to a Marchioness who came out of nowhere? Why are they being so nice? As expected of Our Lady, you're much prettier than Lady Diana. Please make those people who abandoned our Lord tremble in shame. Just like how you took back the land. I got it. This is like attending an ex-boyfriend's wedding. Wasn't everyone in the novel in favor of Diana? But it's true that only the thoughts of those around her were shown. Hestia said, I'm glad they trust me though. I'll be back. I won't lose to you too. I've lost completely. I'm sorry for being full of myself. Don't be fooled by their beauty.
Get a grip.
Hestia said to the small sun and moon of the great empire. Marchioness Hestia presents her greetings. Helios said, Marchioness. Diana said, excuse me. Have we met before? Hestia said, I remember the first time I saw Diana. She was wearing simple but elegant clothes and tended the sick with a gentle smile. She was truly a saintess dedicated to her calling. Hestia thinks no wonder she's the female lead. How can anyone not fall in love with you? But that same saintess is now wearing a fancy dress in a luxurious palace, standing next to the crown prince as a member of the royal family. Hestia said, perhaps your highness has mistaken me for someone else? How ridiculous. This is the marriage certificate and a letter from the Marquis. He said these would be sufficient for both of you. Helios said, this is Kale's handwriting. Princess Diana said, let me read it, Helly. Princess Diana said, but there's no way Kale would suddenly get married like this. Helios thinks Diana is right. Kale wouldn't make rash decisions on such a grave matter. However, she has the marriage certificate and Kale's handwritten letter. Helios thinks, does that mean Kale actually married this woman? Hestia thinks, I can see it on your face, you brats. But your doubts don't change the fact that I'm the Marchioness. Helios said, if you're the Marchioness. Diana reacts, Heli? Helios said, isn't it an abuse of power to rob the temple's land using threats? Hestia thought, isn't it an abuse of power to rob the temple's land using threats? She said, rob? I merely had the land returned through logical persuasion, Helios said, but if that logical persuasion was intended to intimidate someone, that should be called a threat. Hestia replied, so are you suggesting that it is right for the temple to possess the land donated for the saintess? That should be called a robbery through an abuse of power instead. Lady Diana said, the temple doesn't own any private property. Everything that's donated to the temple and the priests belong to God. Hestia said, isn't that even more strange? The divine power given to the crown princess by God, isn't it used solely for the royal family now? That's, Diana said. Hestia thought, in the previous timeline, when my body was falling apart, I went to the temple and begged to meet the saintess for just once. However, the saintess has no time for a lowly thing like you. That was the reason why my desperate plea was denied. After becoming the crown princess, Diana no longer tended the people as the saintess. The saintess was no longer with the people. Hestia said, is that truly the will of God? Diana said, that's, well, Helios said, watch your tongue. Hestia replied, my apologies for sounding rude, she thought, but I'm not asking you right now, Helios. Then Hestia said, then does your highness want Marquis Kale to return the land to the temple? Diana reacted, that's, Hestia said, to be honest, isn't Marquis Kale's sincere love for her highness in the past the reason behind his donation of this land? Do you want my husband to continue dwelling on his past love? Hestia thought, I'm sure they have nothing to say. I mean, how can they possibly argue about that? Unless they want Kale to never get over Diana, they must let him do anything he can to clear his past actions. She thought, that's a lie. But your future will have nothing but destruction. Please just go to hell. Hestia said, I don't resent you for my husband's past. That's already in the past, and there'll be a brighter future for him. We're currently working on building that future together, so I hope you'll be understanding. Diana said, hell. You're absolutely barbaric and rude. How did you even manage to enter the Marquis Manor? Not only that, your wedding day is the day after ours as well. Hestia thought, wow, look at him change his tactics right away. She said, it's not really something to be surprised about. There are countless ways in which a man and a woman reach the stage of marriage. Not everyone has to have a passionate love like the two of you to get married. Helios said, you sound as if you're lecturing us. Hestia said, oh my, I apologize if it came off that way. Helios said, there were many ladies from prestigious families who were in love with Kale. Why did he choose you? Hestia thought, does he think that humans are objects or something? She said, there's something I forgot to mention. I have a special ability just like Her Highness. It's the ability to see the future. Helios said, do you expect me to believe that? Hestia thought, of course he doesn't believe me right away. She said, you must have believed that you're the most special person in the world. I will shatter that belief as well. If you don't believe me, I'll make one prophecy right now. Kale asked Hestia, so what did you say? Hestia replied, I told them that in a few days, the thief that caused a ruckus in the capital will be caught. Kale said, "Is it the one who's been stealing the treasures from the banquet halls?" Hestia said, "Yes." His Highness still didn't seem to believe me. That's what he said, but Kale asked, "What did she say?" Hestia said, "At first, she told me to return the land to the temple. So I'm afraid I had to explicitly explain the reason why your lordship donated the land at that time, though they understood in the end." Kale said, "Yes. Right." Hestia thought, as expected, Kale must still, it's odd. Hestia said, "Pardon?" Kale said, "It's just a piece of land that I've forgotten about after donating it, but having that returned is strangely comforting." "Thank you, Hestia. In that regard, I'd like to express my gratitude. I should be thanking God every day that I get to see your face. My favorite character's face is right in front of me. I can't believe this isn't a dream." But if he wants to express his gratitude, will he do anything? Things like this and that? Kale thinks, what is she thinking about? He said, "Can't choose? Is it a long list?" Hestia said, "And no, that's not it. Gee, get a grip. This isn't the time to be lured by his face." Hestia said, "I'm not doing this for something in return. But if you permit it, I'd like to have a private teacher." Kale said, "A teacher? Do you have someone in mind?" "I'd like to learn from Madame Harmonia from the salon." "Does it have to be her?" "Yes, I don't need anyone else." There's a reason why Kale is reacting this way. It's because Madame Harmonia is a noble and a close acquaintance to Diana. With the Orcus family now gone, after drinking the poison tea from Kale, the nobles changed their stance immediately and no longer oppose Diana. But that only applies to the end of the novel. Not everyone in the novel loves Diana. There must be nobles who are still discontented with her. So, I must take advantage of their disapproval." Hestia said, "Isn't it weird then? Why is she approaching a noble who likes Diana instead of someone who hates her?" The maid said, "You're so short-sighted. Hestia thinks Madame Harmonia was the only noble who was kind to Diana, a commoner. She was the one who encouraged Diana to pursue her love for Helios. And she taught her the imperial etiquette. If the temple is Diana's political ally, Madame Harmonia is her emotional supporter. Hestia thinks there's no way a socialite like her would turn her back on the current situation. Soon enough, she'll help Diana gain support from the nobles. So I have to get close to Madame Harmonia before that happens." "I can't figure you out. I'm thinking about getting your revenge." Kale said, "Discuss
With Rose about this."
Hestia said, "Thank you so much." Kale said, "I still don't understand your intentions. However, it's true that I feel grateful." "Thank you." Kale thanked me. Kale thanked me. And he didn't even kick me out of the room right away. I can't believe this. My favorite character thanked me. I'm so happy. I feel like I've been rewarded for all the work I've done so far. From now on, I'll work even harder. Fangirls live for their favorites. The next day, I asked Rose to help me contact Madame Harmonia. Normally, I should be the one to call her to the mansion, but instead, I said that I'll visit her myself when she is available. Just like Diana, I rose from a commoner to a noble, so I can't come across as being arrogant. Hestia thinks I've read this novel numerous times. I know all the likes and dislikes of the characters. That's right, so there's no way I'd lose this battle. But I didn't expect her to make an appointment this quickly. Okay, strike while the iron is hot. I got this. Welcome. So sparkly. I have an appointment with Madame Harmonia. May I have your name, my lady? Hestia said, "It's Hestia. Tell her it's the Marchioness, and she'll know. Please give us a moment." As expected of a novel, even the staff is good-looking. But more importantly, how unsettling, they're all staring at me. Did I say that too loudly? Are there already rumors about what happened in the temple? But isn't it way too fast for rumors to spread this far? I can't wait to get out of here, your ladyship. Onmu, you really came yourself. She's here. My savior. I've prepared some refreshments inside.
Please come this way.
I've never been so glad to see someone for the first time. I didn't really think you would come, Madame Marchioness. Most of the higher nobles call me to their mansions instead. I wanted to visit myself to prove my desperation. Diana won the favor of Madame Harmonia with her honesty and modesty, so I should be able to win Madame Harmonia's favor using the same tactics. Madam, I need your help and Madame Marchioness. What is it? Please, you can tell me anything. Sob, thank you. I have no one to ask for help, even if that's not how I truly feel.